What is it that you treasure? Well, there's a lot of things that we can treasure. And looking at my stash from the past couple of years, it looks like I might treasure some birthday cards or any kind of thank you cards. I like to go back and look at what they've shared. And as I was going through some of these birthday cards, there was a few that I came upon that I was like, this is very interesting how it's written. It shows something that parents treasure. So this one, it says, "Son, all through your life you've had a caring, thoughtful way that just comes naturally to you. And you've added so much happiness to our family that it's hard to imagine what life would be like without you." Kind of cheesy. But sometimes I'm like, but do I ever accept that? Another one that I really like says, "To our son on his birthday, with a lifetime of love, whether he is far away or right there at your side. A son is the kind of person who can fill your heart with pride. He can bring you joy and happiness." And it goes on to being a little bit more, mushy-gushy and all that other good stuff. But I thought, going back to that spot, it said, "A son's the kind of person who can fill your heart with pride. He can bring you joy and happiness." What if that son didn't? What if that son actually brought shame upon the family? These cards would look a lot different. See, righteousness is one of those things that we treasure. We treasure a lot. And it seems pretty evident within these birthday cards. When you go down, that's what you're looking at. It's going to talk about the joy that people have, the joy that a son brings into the family, or the pride that a parent has saying, "That's my kid." And treasures are weird. Treasures are very special and interesting, unique. They hold memory. See, some treasures might be the passing on of trading cards. Over time, they gain greater value. The older they are, and in good shape, they have a greater value. Don't necessarily know why all the time. It's still the same card, but it just means that it's older. It's special. Or, I was able to get a hold of a lot of books from Sam's grandfather. He was a pastor as well, and he had put quite a few notes in these books, or they were notes from his loved ones, from gifts. And I love just getting to open up to the front cover and looking at a lot of these different notes that they're adding here. And I was like, I didn't realize he had a sister. It adds some special character. It's a memory. And it's something that can even bring emotion, a connection with someone. My grandmother, she loves getting to collect all these quarters. And she made sure that all of us grandkids had a full, complete set of these quarters. And then she also gave us a bunch of these other sets. And, I've tried. I'm getting close to collecting all the latest quarters. But they tell me over time, these for some reason will gain more value. Because they're just aged. Or maybe it's the beloved family recipe that you've always been waiting to get your hands on. And finally you got it. So you wrote it down in your own little book. So that way you'd always have it. See, treasures become treasures over time. It's something that has value and emotion that we hold on to. But not all treasures have to be material. There's a specific treasure that is sometimes some of the best that we can offer to our loved ones. And it's one that a father gave in Proverbs 4. It's wisdom. Wisdom is one of the best treasures that we can give that won't decay, that doesn't fade away or anything else. It's one that we can offer in hopes that kids may become righteous, that they may live in righteousness. So they offer wisdom through their lives. So let's go ahead and turn to Proverbs 4. starting at verse 1. Listen, sons, to your father's discipline, and pay attention so that you may gain understanding. For I am offering you good instruction. Don't abandon my teaching. He says, look, I'm offering you these treasures that have belonged to me. Please, don't neglect them. Don't reject them. This is the best that I have to offer you for your life to come. This is the good instruction. And we'll go ahead and start at verse 3 again. See, when I was a son with my father, tender and precious to my mother, he taught me and said. So let's take another step back. Some commentators had said that this person who's speaking right now could have been just a sage, a teacher, speaking to the sons, just his students in that perspective. Many other ones had simply said this is a father teaching his sons. And the other one's fine. But either way, this teacher and father is standing here saying, let me take you a step back. I want to take you to what Grandpa had said. I remember when I was young, and this is the words that Grandpa told me. He basically tells his son almost a love letter. Starting at verse 4, Grandpa taught me and said, your heart must hold on to my words. Keep my commands and live. Get wisdom. Get understanding. Don't forget or turn away from my words from my mouth. Please, please, listen. Don't abandon wisdom, and she will watch over you. Love her, and she will guard you. Grandpa, hold up. Take a step back. Grandpa, this is starting to sound like some kind of love letter that you got going on. Like, is this love advice? In a way, that's kind of what Grandpa's doing here. He'll keep bringing in this wisdom as this character that we love and cherish. We don't abandon. He almost brings it into the perspective of wisdom being our spouse. Do you love and cherish her? Are you faithful to her? Do not abandon her. So we'll go back into verse 7. It says, wisdom is supreme. So get wisdom. He said this over and over again. Get wisdom. He says, whatever else you get understanding. Again, cherish her, and she will exalt you. If you embrace her, she will honor you. She will place a garland of favor on your head. She will give you a crown of beauty. And that's almost like a marriage ceremony, especially with a king and a queen during that time. I think of that as wisdom will honor you and love you. Cherish her, love her, be faithful to wisdom. She'll do you well. I almost think of Grandpa as just going down the line and, at least for my grandpa, he would always say, now you watch those girls. Well, one day I was able to say, yeah, Grandpa was watching those girls. I figured out how to get my handwriting better. I fixed up my handwriting because, girls write a whole lot better. But anyways, clearly I was watching, and I will be marrying Sam next week. But Grandpa would always say, now you watch those girls. I mean, he was always so focused on being able to get that girl. Go get that girl. That's this Grandpa. He's saying, get wisdom. Go find her. She's special. Go find her. Now be faithful. Be good to her. She'll be good to you. But be faithful to her. Wisdom will do that. And then we step back to the teacher and the father. He says those words of what Grandpa spoke to him. He says, now listen, my sons. please accept my words. This is the treasure that I can offer you. It says, accept my words and you will live many years. Again, going back to this spouse, honor her, be faithful to her. Please, if we would go on and study and throughout the rest of Proverbs and 5 and 6 and continuing, you see that they continue to talk about the foolish woman, the one that will try to entice you, the one that will try to make you commit adultery against your spouse's wisdom. Do not abandon her. Do not leave her. Do not commit adultery against her. Love her like a spouse. So the Father is saying, please, this is what I can offer you. Accept my words and you will live many years. See, I am teaching you the way of wisdom. And with this, I hope that you will be able to live righteously. I am guiding you on straight paths. First off, I love that love letter. It honestly is a love letter to our spouse wisdom. How are we loving her? How are we cherishing her? Do not commit adultery against her. Do not be wandering off to the ways of the foolish with their sweet words that they have to offer. That's in different chapters further ahead. But after reading that and listening to what Grandpa offered for advice, and now what Dad is passing on, it's generations being passed on. Wisdom has been able to gain value time and time again as it's being passed. It's something that is being repeated, saying, this is good. This is better than the material that I can offer you. It's a way to be able to walk righteously. But I sit here and I think through all of that, and I'm asking myself, have I taken the advice of wisdom? Have I taken the advice from my mentors? If I'm being honest, oftentimes I say, wow, that sounds really good. I like that. That's really good advice. It sounds good. It sounds nice. And I store it in my mind. But I don't always live by it. I don't always act upon it. So, just thinking about even with temptation. Here's my spouse I'm supposed to remain faithful to. Wisdom. In Proverbs. Wisdom. Here's my spouse. And then somebody comes with this enticing words. Temptation. And temptation comes. And I've heard the advice from many mentors. Scripture. From wisdom. Our spouse. I've heard the advice. And I'm just being enticed by these other words. They sound so sweet and so pure. And they say, please. My mentors have said, please, do not put yourself in harm's way. Do not tempt yourself. Do not even put yourself in that situation. But there have honestly been times when those moments of temptation come by. I've abandoned wisdom. I haven't treated her as my spouse. I haven't been faithful to her. And it's taken me down some hard roads that have not been good. The advice that they have to offer us from generations, Grandpa and our father, Scripture, Proverbs, all this advice, our mentors, they've been trying to help us be able to walk this straight path of righteousness. And our guide is wisdom. So I sit here and I say, have I honestly accepted this advice of wisdom? Have I honestly accepted this treasure that they have offered me? Have you? Have we offered and accepted the advice of wisdom. Now, I also think back, I've loved getting to look at notes. Notes are so special. We get to have these notes, and even my own personal notes. Write the notes down. From our mentors, if they're saying something wise, please write it down. Write it down, even if we can't remember it. I like to go back to even my own notes. It doesn't have to be just Grandpa's notes. I like to go back to my own notes and say, wow, I forgot that my RA, Evan, had told me that. That was good advice. I forgot that my mentor at Capital City, Frank, he had shared that with me. I needed to be reminded of that. Write it down, please. They did. They wrote it down. So please, when your mentors are saying something, even if you don't accept it at that moment, write it down so we can go back and hopefully accept it at some point. Sooner better than later. But now I'm also thinking of the other side of it. I'm thinking about the times that maybe we're not receiving wisdom, but now we're offering wisdom. And I'm thinking, what is the treasure I'm giving to people? When I'm thinking about passing on something, is it just simply these material things? Or am I trying to offer something even better? Something that would be able to, for them to carry on for the rest of their life, so that they can follow on this straight, narrow way, as a parent would love for their son and daughters to go down. A straight, righteous path. We offer wisdom. We need to offer wisdom. So whether we're receiving wisdom and we're writing it down and we're trying to make sure that we're accepting it so that we can walk this straight and narrow path, or whether we're offering this wisdom as a treasure to people, are we doing that? See, I am getting married next week. I would love the advice from people in generations who have been able to live and have successful, good marriages. I want them to write that down. Offer that to me. I want to be able to have that wisdom. Offer that to people. And for many of us are graduating. What are we passing on to the other students? What are we passing on to the undergrad students who are still studying, that have a few more years to come? I hope we're offering some kind of wisdom that they can be able to hold on to, not just for college, but for many years to come. I'm thankful for my professors for that. But either way, whether we're receiving it or offering it, we should be doing both. But wisdom is a treasure, something that has gained value over time, like many of these gifts, these treasures. But how do we walk righteously? How do the people of this world walk righteously? By giving them wisdom, by giving us wisdom, by accepting wisdom. That's what Grandpa was hoping for. That's what the teacher and the father was hoping for his sons. So please, take wisdom in as your spouse. Love her and cherish her. And do not abandon wisdom. But go get her.